Wave. Welcome. I always say welcome so unnaturally. Welcome, everyone, to the February edition of the Tough Love Arena State of the Game stream. I am Paul, your host, one of the co-creators of Tough Love Arena, and for the next 30 to 60 minutes, I'm going to tell you all about the state of the game. What's going on with TLA, what have we accomplished recently, and what do you have to look forward to in the near future. Let's get started, shall we? So, the past. What did we accomplish in the month of January? Now, technically, it's before this stream. This stream is a little late. It's February 14th because we were at Frosty Faustings for the first week of February. But what did we accomplish in the last month and a half? We had the birthday tournament. It was fabulous. Had a great time. Really fun stream. Really hype matches. I collected a bunch of clips. If you want to scroll back on our official Twitter, I posted some of the highlights, but one of them includes this.
I didn't realize that because time is ticking down. Yep, just take the throw, get out of the corner.
Oh my god!
My goodness. I'm still processing what I saw.
Very hype tournament. We also have the wasn't even optimal. Shut up, Wilton. I mean, you're right. But it was great. We have the full VOD of the tournament on our YouTube channel if you want to check it out, and I have some highlight clips posted on Twitter. So I'm a little out of it tonight, but we'll have fun with it.
I didn't realize
I also, for those who are not in the know, this marks the 6th official tournament win of our friend Handsome Phil. He has now officially won an official tournament with every character in the cast, and will supposedly be retiring from playing and joining me on commentary. So, good news for everyone else. And honestly, good news for the audience, so that we can hopefully have some interesting grand finals again. And shout out to twitter.com/tytypes who made this image. Another thing we did in January was the Wonderville party. So there was this bar in Brooklyn, a barcade that hosts indie games, and as you can see very blurrily right here, we had a cabinet with our game on it. We still do for another couple weeks, and we had a big party in January to host an official tournament. So it was a pleasure to run. Okay, this is more in focus. Special version of the build that advertises the game. And it was great. The champion of the tournament ended up being this gentleman, Nick, who is the developer of a couple of his own indie fighting games. We've mentioned them, I think, before in the past in the Discord, but if you want to check out Combo Babies. And he has a new platform fighter that the name is escaping me. But it was great to see him show up and destroy people, even though, honestly, the buttons were a little iffy. Really good time. And lastly, we were at Frosty Faustings. So this was our first convention of the year. We finally have prints of the PAX art, which beforehand we just had like these tiny little postcards of. It was super fun to watch people play. We had a couple of good setups going on, and I think this is actually from the tournament, the side tournament that we ran on Saturday morning. So I had to include some of my favorite pictures, including people who bought our stickers and then showed them off on their sticks. And, of course, a selfie of me and Abik. Abik was nice enough to join me on commentary when I realized that, oh, we need commentators for this side tournament. The side tournament had top 4 streamed on one of the side channels for Frosty. It's not yet up on YouTube, I don't think, but I am talking to the organizers now about whether it will get uploaded or if I can just upload my own version. But we'll put it online. There was a very hyped grand finals of our very own Alexa, Dawn at Night in Chat, versus this gentleman right here named Butt69. So if you want to watch a tense garlic vs. noodle grand finals, definitely check it out when it goes up. And in addition to just being in a lot of places in real life, I actually managed to write a little bit of code. So I added a push notifications feature for matchmaking, which I've been hearing some word of mouth that is pretty good, fun feature. If people have any suggestions for other ways that I can utilize push notifications, like I'm planning to do one for when there is a version update. But yeah, anything else like that, please let me know. I went through, it was I think a dev stream in the middle of the month, and banged out a bunch of the modding feature requests. That was a lot of fun. Looking forward to doing that again, hopefully this month. And a much overdue feature, adding a quit button to the desktop release, Steam in specific. But it's also on the free version as well. So now you can actually quit the game without Alt F4, or whatever that is equivalent on other operating systems. And then the monthly survey. This is normally where I'd include a bunch of nice screenshots from the monthly survey, but I forgot. So we put it up last night. You can find it right now in chat if you do. I'm actually going to do it for you. !survey. If you haven't filled that out, please do so. Normally I end it right before state of the game and show the results, because it's been up for less than 24 hours. I'm going to leave it up for probably most of this week for people to leave comments, and then I'll close it probably around Friday and push a balance patch this weekend. That's my current plan. But let's take a quick live look at some preliminary results. We have some good responses on game being fun. Good responses on easy. Average depth. Likely to play again. Likely to recommend. More than likely to recommend. Very good. Now here's the fun part. Okay, Noodle. Noodle is above average strong and fun. Rice is not very strong, if you don't believe the table propaganda. This is surprising. And above average fun to play. Not by much. Just above on both of these. Beef is very strong and very fun. That's great to hear. Rice mid-tier for real. Welcome, Guy. Thanks for the chat. Table asks, could I show the current results? Yes, right now we have 19 responses. If I refresh, it's still 19 responses. Beef's doing great. Pork is... this looks like it's probably just barely above average strong, but very fun. Love to see it. And onion is definitely strong, definitely fun. Garlic is definitely strong and definitely fun. And this is what I love to see. I love to see that every character posted above average on strength. And also above average on fun. So, you know, I'd like rice to be a little bit higher. Of course, I'm always looking to get rid of these 1s and 2s. Well, I don't know what this is about. This is garlic for crying out loud. So, go ahead and respond if you haven't already. I will be going through all these notes later in my personal time and reading them. Thank you. I always read these. They're very appreciated. Now, back to the stream. Now let's talk about the present. What is going on with TLA right now? What's going on? I'm thinking about if I should drop present in the general structure of this presentation, because past is very clear, celebrating recent wins. Future is very clear. This is what we're doing for the rest of the month. So present is like, okay, I should rename present. It's not about present. It's about getting into the actual like state of the game parts. Not just like a you know, here's a report on what we did and some previews, but more of like talking about the game a little bit more philosophically. So maybe I'll rename this to philosophy. Oh, I guess I want to announce this. I have begun work on April Fools. I don't think there's any reason to keep this a secret at this point. We've done it 2 years in a row, and I'd like to build hype. We are going to have an April Fool's patch. I think I might want to keep it out for even like the first week of April this time, just to give people some more time to play with it, because I am putting a lot of effort into it this time. So we already have 29 commits. That's basically like 29 times I sort of saved changes, made a meaningful change, and net 700 new lines of code. So should be exciting. Still got plenty of time until April 1st, and I think I'm about 30% done, so looking forward to it. I'm also planning a small balance patch based on the player feedback that I've been getting recently and some of my own observations of beginner players at Frosty. If you'd like to learn more about it and help me playtest, that will be going up on Patreon probably later tonight, if not tomorrow. I'll put it up there so that people can double check me, sanity check me, make sure I didn't accidentally introduce any new infinite combos, and then we'll push it out probably to give people time to test. I'll push it out on like Saturday after TLG. Unfortunately, iOS didn't get any love during January because I was too busy with the IRL events and prepping for April Fools, actually, but I plan to get back to that. And also, just FYI, I've got some personal stuff going on this month, some plans that are very up in the air. So I'm hoping I can keep all of my Monday night dev streams, but I might need to cancel one on short notice. But I'm also excited because starting in March, definitely April, I should have time for more development streams again. So looking forward to that. Last sip. So now it's time to talk about the future. Coming up, we have Tough Love Gauntlet, number 100. Shiggy's already made the challenge. If you want to register for it, it's 2 weeks out. This Friday is TLG 99, so this is the following Friday in 10 days or so. And I have set up a Matcherino that, as of last checking, has at least $100 in it so far. So we'll determine how many people get paid out based on how much money we end up getting. But it'll be similar to TLG 69, just a slightly more official version of TLG. It'll still be on Shiggy's stream, but I'll try to join in on commentary if I'm free. So yeah, please sign up. If a bunch of people sign up, we can get more money in the Matcherino. I might throw in some more. It should be a great time, and it's a great excuse. It's a great excuse to celebrate the fact that Shiggy has thrown 100 of these weekly tournaments, not counting all of the modded tournaments and other stuff. This is just the normal gameplay stuff on Friday nights. So we're very grateful to them, and come on out. Otherwise, working on Friday, Amy continues to animate Garlic. Here's a cute little clip. Again, that small balance patch, hoping to put out within a week or so, and I will continue prepping for April Fools and the iOS app. And that's about it. Pretty straightforward couple of weeks. So now we will move on to the Q&A. I'll leave up Garlic for a minute while I get ready. So if you have a question, please ask it now. I will start reading the chat starting at this point after Snadraman said Garlic ear wiggle. I'll read any questions below that. And I'm going to get a very quick drink of water, and then we'll get started. Where is the Q&A can? Well, here. I'll be right back. Thank you. I'm muted. I don't think you missed much. I'll start over on that question, though. Table asks... Oh, this is going to be a very fun YouTube VOD. Table asks, what are your thoughts on Noodle in the current version? More specifically, what do you think of Buzzsaw? Buzzsaw is very strong. It is very strong. I mean, it's not really guaranteed damage, because some characters can reversal it, but also it comes out at a timing that would normally be a safe jump, so that would make you shy about reversing. It's... I might tune it down a little bit during the balance patch coming out soon, but I don't plan to make any radical changes. The thing I'm most tempted to do is honestly tweak the animation a little bit. Maybe use a different sprite to make it just much more visually distinct than normal jumping. Wilton Law says, I remember Alexa talking about how you pulled an "oh, ew" face when you saw her hit a double soup into Buzzsaw setup. What's that about, Mr. Weeks? I don't know if it was a setup into Buzzsaw. I think I was surprised that... I think it was mid-screen Frenzy RC putting out a soup and still having time to juggle into Whip. That surprised me. But... other than that, it would have been just, you know, general encouraging Alexa. Trying to make her feel like she was doing cool shit. Dawn at night, Alexa asks, any idea as to whether you'll be at Combo Breaker? We are almost 100% going to be at Combo Breaker. I haven't gotten the official confirmation yet, but we have applied. I have rented a hotel. I have every intention, both me and Amy have every intention of being at Combo Breaker. The events we're planning on this year are Combo Breaker and Evo. Currently nothing else. Kevin Kryptonite asks, when am I going to be able to download the SFXs? I remember you asking this, Kevin. I'm sorry. I couldn't remember if... I think you brought it up during stream, and I wasn't sure if people were able to help you find the files in, like, the unpacked zip. It's the sort of thing... I'll DM you a file after the stream. I can think of a file that would have what you need. So, I'll just DM that to you. I don't think it's worth trying to build, like... usually when I want to help people with these things, it makes me want to build, like, you know, a version that will work forever. Like, you know, what are the current sounds? And exporting those. But I can just get you what we have in the game right now. Send me a DM on Discord, and I'll see it after I end the stream. Table Rice asks, as a follow-up question, if Buzzsaw is fine as is against most of the cast, could you please make it +1 a block instead of +2, so that Port can chop a 5L afterwards? That is an interesting suggestion. Yes, I'm considering either nerfing the damage or nerfing the frame advantage, whether to make it actually true neutral. But even the +1 is a good point, because yeah, that is how Caper is designed, so thank you for pointing that out. And then a bunch of people pointing out that I was muted. Okay. Dab SR asks, have you thought about adding extended hurt boxes during startup / reducing the general amount of disjoint? Dab SR, are you talking about a specific question, like a specific move, or just sort of in general? Currently there's no extended hurt boxes on lights, with the idea that every character has a heavy that should be able to just cleanly beat the light. And then every heavy has extended hurt boxes on recovery. Except maybe Sweep? I forget if Sweep does. And Whip has extended hurt boxes starting on active frame, so it can actually trade. I'm happy with our current... You know, the reason why you would extend hurt boxes during any point is to help with punishing, right? And it makes most sense during recovery of, ooh, I got you to punch first, and I get to punch second. But even in terms of like, oh, I outranged you, adding additional hurt boxes during, say, startup or something, to me only serves to just like make it more lenient if you like were just barely going to edge them out. But I don't think that's super necessary, and it can create some like weird side effects. Like suddenly, if I added extended hurt boxes to say lights during startup, then if we both press light out of range of each other, but I press it like a frame before you, I'm gonna get a counter hit. That doesn't feel quite right. So I'm happy with the current level of extended hurt boxes, but definitely let me know if there's a particular move you think should have it. Sneaker Ninja says hi. Hey Eddie, thanks for stopping by. Moshpox says, if you go to the game page, you can use browser to see what sound files it's loading. Yes, that is true. You can do it through the through like the inspect tools. That definitely works, but it's definitely tedious. Don says, hey, and feel like. I don't know what that's referencing because it's been too long. Sorry, Don. Teal at Evo again, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Wilson asks, will you have a panel again, or was that one-off? I have no idea. This is too early to talk. I mean, they haven't even announced the dates yet, right? That's going to be like next week or so. So I'll probably be finding out this stuff in like April and May, maybe. I'll let you guys know when I find things out, but I just have the intention of attending Evo, whether we have a panel, whether we have a booth, or if I'm just showing up to, or if I'm just showing up to go 0-2 and strive with my sexy new snack box that is plugged in and crossing a bunch of wires right now. So. I've spent the last week trying to learn this thing. It has been hell. Very excited to use one, not for the performance benefit, more so just for the portability. I go to these events. I was at Combo Breaker, and I was like, oh, or at Frosty a week and a half ago, and I was like, oh, after hours, I'd love to play some casuals. And, oh, I forgot to bring my 20-pound stick that would fill an entire briefcase and might break during travel, like it did that one time I went to Evo in 2014. So I'm very excited to have this, because I can bring it everywhere, and I can play modern games. But it has been a learning experience for sure. Not totally discouraging. I got a lot of stuff faster than I expected, but some of the stuff, it just feels weird. It just feels weird. February says, I know this is a really stupid, far-fetched question. No question's stupid, but TLA Caribbean events? Ever? If there's like an FGC event in the Caribbean and they want to have us, I'd be down. I have not traveled to any international FGC events, so I'm just simply not aware of any, unless you're talking about like VGX or whatever. Like, I mean, I haven't been to VGX, but like, I just totally not on my radar. But if the event is cool enough, and if maybe like the area is enticing for me from a travel tourist perspective, I'd be down to attend international stuff. But it's definitely, obviously, a much bigger commitment. First time chatter from MLGD2Z. Thanks for stopping by. Zero Block would be funny. Wilton says, thoughts on buffing caber range to let you buff for a tick throw caber after 1.5L? No. That was very intentional. So that if you want to go for a tick throw, you either have to commit to the cancel, which gives them more time to react, or do normal throw. Caber has its strengths, it has its uses, but this gives a purpose to do normal throw. For ticking and for sort of reversal throwing. Table says, are you actually buffing rice, or is table propaganda a joke? No, I'm probably not buffing rice. Sneaking Ninja says, I will pack my beef shirt for Evo. Let's go! Just play on keyboard, Onion Lenny. Wilton asks, why does gut punch caber cancel exist? it felt like a sort of why not. It was I wanted to have more symmetry in the meats. The fact that beef had could cancel light into lemon, and pork had nothing comparable felt, I don't know if unfair is the right word, because like, jab into lemon is not great, right? We all know it's not real, but having that as an option, having that as something to experiment with, especially if you're not playing, at a super optimal level, if you want to have fun with those sorts of gimmicks, it felt sad that only beef had those. But the way Caber worked before, where it had pretty big startup, jab into Caber would be a very strong tick, as it was for people who remember for like the first month of the game. You could cancel jab into Caber. Both characters could cancel jab into your special in January of 2021, and I took that away from pork because it was very oppressive. Again, people were much worse 2 years ago, but I didn't want to go back to that. So once I had changed how Caber worked and added the run component, it was more of a, ooh, I get to restore this. Table says, in general, is there anything you notice from Frosty players that you can say here? Yeah, actually, I'll make a fun little demo. Give me 1 second to pull it up. Is there any other question that I can talk about while I'm pulling this up? MLG says good night. Good night, MLG. Thoughts on changing backflip H cancel to dash roundhouse? Oh, as opposed to right now it's just in place roundhouse? That's actually really interesting. Can you put that in feature requests? And I'll try to remember to take a look at it when I'm working on the balance patch this week. What am I doing? Going to this folder. Opening it up in VS Code. Got to pull down the branch. Which branch is it? Yes. Okay. Alrighty. So, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the issue. The issues facing people today. And let's remember to put the game back on the monitor. Alright. So this was my number one takeaway that I'm planning to address. If you go into TLA right now, this is production TLA. And I do Caber toss with pork. It puts them into this free juggle state, right? This is review for anyone who's played the game. Very obvious stuff. And when people are playing for the first time, often they'll be like, oh, what do I do here? And sometimes if I'm at the booth, I'll tell them like, oh, you should do jump, just like you do after uppercut. And that's an obvious combo ender, right? And maybe people can start experimenting more, and I saw people like, do this, whether intentionally or not. But the worst part is when someone does this. Right? Because the way... Oops. Oh gosh. The way that the juggle system works in the... I can't chew bubblegum and talk at the same time. The way that the juggle system works in this game... beef is going to land and basically instantly recover, while pork is still recovering from the uppercut, at which point beef can punish. Now suddenly it's like, oh, I landed this cool command grab, and I got punished on hit? I'm not going to do that command grab anymore. This is actually part of the reason, there were other reasons to do it, but this is part of the reason that Meat's juggle, the juggle count after uppercut was nerfed from 4 to 3. To basically prevent beginners from making the mistake of doing this and them landing and punishing. They can still do it if, like, I whiff the middle hit. Like, if I do... I can't... Nope. I know this is possible. We're gonna sit here until I get this. What? Okay, yeah. I guess that might not be punishable, but that's definitely minus. That's not good. So I want to fix that. It's a beginner game. I want to remove places where beginners can so obviously and accidentally shoot themselves in the foot. Because it feels so obvious. Like, I'm just going to do my heavy combo I learned, and now it's betraying me. So, okay, ignoring that. The fix I'm currently toying with is that when uppercut hits grounded, it launches like normal with the 3 juggle count, as you can see on Beef's body. Nothing changed there. However, if uppercut would hit while airborne, it forces a hard knockdown and it sends them really far away. This accomplishes a few things. 1, it solves this problem. No longer have to worry about, like, oh, it's unsafe. 2, the long distance and the angle is such that it's not strictly better than doing jump attack. See, if I do jump attack, I could walk up and almost get a meaty, or I could do this, which is not real, right? You can anti-air that. Likewise, if I go for the uppercut combo, like, jump attack won't even reach. So you truly get no Oki. Meats already have to make the decision, right? If you're a port player of, like, do I go for chop, which is less damage, but I get a guaranteed Oki again, or do I go for the jump attack for more damage, but, now I'm back to neutral. This is an even more neutraler option, essentially. It was important to me to not make it strictly better. Usually, because of the symmetry, this applies to Beef as well. So in the rare scenarios where Beef would hit an airborne uppercut, like say this, which is not the optimal combo, you would get the full screen launch. Now, this could actually be an incentive for Beef in very certain matchups. If you got walked to the corner by, like, Onion or something, you could do this as a way to try and, restart your lemon zoning. The only sort of nerf, in my mind, is, as Table and Wilton are discussing in chat right now, Pork has a combo where you do, I believe it's something like this, right? And then you can get more, for sort of max damage. Something like that. And now that is not an option. If you wanted to follow up the uppercut, you'd have to RC it on that hit. So that is a very minor nerf for a very niche scenario. They're talking about just 5HH, RC, and the 5HH for a safe jump. Let's test that out. Oh, I didn't get all the hits. Okay. Then, yes, you will not have that. Or could do that. So, that was my biggest takeaway from Frosty. It's really good to watch new people play the game, because you would never see that on a TLG stream, right? People who've played the game long enough know not to make that mistake, but I don't want there to be... I don't want to make it so that people can easily make mistakes, right? Moves should be strong. Moves should be good. You shouldn't be punished for doing your move when it hit, right? That is a point that means a lot to me. So there are other balance patches, other balance things that I'm going to sneak in. Again, if you want to check it out, join the Patreon. But that's the Frosty one. And on that note, I think I'm ready to shut it down. We haven't had any more questions. You can pork it 5H, 5HHH. Yeah. So you have that for an option. And it also does more damage than jump, I'm pretty sure. So there are some pros and cons. Table says, have you seen Rice's answer noodle using 4SRC? I'm sure that in that scenario, Rice could also teleport, but that Noodle could punish the teleport. I just know that Noodle has some, like, potentially guaranteed throw setups. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I don't think it's, Oh, because teleport gets grabbed. Good point. You're right. That changes it. But I'm okay with it. Take the throw. Take the throw. For a game with very low mix, you know, you can't do the 8-way air dash safe jump in this game. Noodle, I think it's actually kind of interesting that Noodle is able to sort of thrive as a set play character by getting these meaty chip or guaranteed damage throw setups. Yeah, that sounds good to me, Table. It costs meter, and it is hard. So, I'm cool with it. We will address it if and when Noodle becomes a top tier. How about that? Alright, everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Always a pleasure. Good night.